Well, no one said being the Chancellor would be easy. And with less than a month into the job, Rachel Reeves is already referring to the difficult decisions that lie ahead to make up the 22 billion funding shortfall. A shortfall that she claims was not apparent when she stepped into the role. And whilst yesterday's speech focused on the funding cuts, that is, slashing the initiatives that the government pay for, the most headline grabbing of which was, of course, the winter fuel payment, Miss Reeves has well and truly paved the way for tax rises in her first budget on the 30th of October. So, with 4 months to go ahead of us that we can speculate in, what exactly do we know? Well, the Chancellor kind of has one hand tied behind her back, given that she can't move the dial on the three taxes that we know raise the most for the Treasury. And that's because it was made clear during the Labour campaign that there would be no changes in national insurance, income tax, and VAT. Now, that doesn't mean that the tax take from these taxes won't increase, because that happens when parties let inflation do the heavy lifting for them in what we refer to as the fiscal drag. And it's where they benefit from rising incomes and prices that in turn increase the tax take. And whilst inflation's difficult to predict, what we do know is that it won't fully close the gap. Now, the Chancellor also pledged that she won't raise taxes for working people, which has naturally led to speculation around the future of capital gains tax and inheritance tax. The IFS have stated that raising capital gains tax more towards income tax rates would be fairer, but they've suggested that you would need to think about tax incentives for those types of investment that fuel growth. And that's really important because it speaks to that balancing act that the Chancellor has between increasing taxes to try and fund for everything that the UK needs, whilst not doing anything that could slow down economic growth, because when the economy grows, we all benefit. Now, Think Tax have calculated that the potential tax increase to the Treasury could be around 16.7 billion a year. So that is quite a lot to play for there. But one thing that the Chancellor was very clear on during her manifesto was that she would seek to close what she referred to as the tax loophole in respect of carried interest. That is the way that a certain proportion of a fund manager's earnings is taxed, which is akin to a capital gain. And that's because it aligns really closely to the growth of the investment when usually certain hurdles are met. And true to her word, the Chancellor has now launched a call for evidence which focuses on three areas. One, how can the treatment of carried interest most appropriately reflect its economic characteristics? Two, what are the different structures that are already being used with respect to carried interest? And three, what can we learn from how other countries approach this? Now, there's never a clearer sign that the government intends to make an informed change to a regime than when they launch a consultation like this. And it really is critical to the Chancellor's credibility that she does consult widely, as the impact to the private equity sector, which really sits at the heart of asset management in Europe, could be catastrophic if she gets it wrong. So we have until the 30th of August to respond, and I, for one, am expecting to be busier than usual this summer as we support our clients voicing their views.